Welcome again to Kim's Bioproduction Academy. Today we want to discuss about how our red blood cells, that is an animal red blood cells, is adapted to its function. The adaptations of the red blood cells, how they adapted to its function. And the first one will be they lack a nucleus. Number two, they will be having an enzyme. That is what? Enzyme carbonic anhydrase. Number three, they are pliable. You can speak about being flexible. Then again, you speak about they lack most of the cell organelles. They have a thin membrane. And the last one is about the biconcave in shape and containing the pigment, which is the haemoglobin. So let's start from the first, which is what? Biconcave shape. That is the biconcave what shape. This biconcave shape is the shape of a red blood cell. It will be something of this kind. We're speaking about the biconcave shape, and this one is to increase the surface area for the diffusion of the respiratory gases. So we are speaking about increase of the surface area for faster diffusion of those respiratory gases. That is the importance of the biconcave. Those are normal red blood cell shape. But to some individual who suffer with their sickle cell anemia, their red blood cells will not be biconcave. Otherwise, they will be crescent shape, or you speak about sickle cell shape, and that will have some advantage in areas which are prone to malaria. But this other person will have a problem when it comes to those kind of areas. That is the first one. We'll understand that when it comes to when we will be discussing about the sickle cell anemia as what? As a gene mutation. The gene things are resulting from the gene mutation. Then we have number two, they lack a nucleus. The importance for the lacking of the nucleus is to increase the surface area for packaging of more of haemoglobin. So this one is your reason. Packaging of what? More haemoglobin. And what's the reason why we should package more of this haemoglobin? And the main reason for that, so that we can carry more oxygen, so that we can increase the oxygen carrying capacity. The more the haemoglobin, the more the carrying capacity of the oxygen. And that will be very, very important in our bodies. Then number three, we have the enzyme carbonic anhydrase. During the transportation of the what? Carbon dioxide. This enzyme will be very, very, very necessary. The necessary on the transportation of the carbon because it will be carrying the highest number in terms of the weak carbonic acid. Then this one now, this enzyme is to catalyze the reaction between water and carbon dioxide, and that now we form the bicarbonate, the weak carbonic acid, which will be broken down, and it will facilitate the transportation of CO2 as which form? The bicarbonate form. So we are saying this one will catalyze, that is the speed reaction between water and carbon dioxide, and facilitate the transportation of carbon dioxide and what? Carbon 4 in form of the bicarbonate ions, that is weak carbonic acid. It's a catalyst, enzyme, a catalyst in nature. Then we have the haemoglobin, that is a pigment called what? It got a pigment called haemoglobin, and this haemoglobin combines with oxygen. Haemoglobin combining with what? Oxygen, and you form unstable compound called oxyhemoglobin, which readily dissociates. When you speak about readily dissociating, it's unstable. And because of its unstable nature, that oxyhemoglobin will have to be broken down to oxygen and haemoglobin. Then haemoglobin from the respiring tissue, it will now package up the carbon dioxide, then it will transport back to the lungs. So we are saying this one forms something called oxyhemoglobin, which is unstable because it can easily dissociate and will release oxygen to the various body tissues. Then from that point now to the various body tissues, because you know that all of oxygen will be used in the respiration process. Then we have number five, they lack cell organelles. I'm saying lack most of the cell organelles. If not all, it will be what? Most cell organelles. And the main reason is to reduce metabolic process. you should understand we have various metabolic processes within the body. And if this metabolic process will be increased, they will require respiration as a process, and they will use oxygen. And the main reason for this one, they reduce metabolic reaction, so it means they will not be consuming the oxygen that they will be carrying or transporting. That is the importance. And you'll get a question in your paper one asking why red blood cells lack what? Lack more of the cell organelles. We are saying to prevent it from consuming the oxygen that it will be transporting. We are saying these red blood cells, its main role is transportation of oxygen. So if it could be using the oxygen which it will be transporting, there could be no what? We will be having a lot of difficulties when it comes to that. Then the second last is about flexible or pliable. What is the meaning of being flexible or pliable? The main reason for this one, because so that they can squeeze through the narrow lumen of the blood capillaries. So we can speak about this one, it's your blood capillary. From this blood capillary of yours, and you can check our red blood cells, we are saying they're in this form. So they can change their form. They can change their form, and that is what I'm meaning being pliable. So they can squeeze through that narrow lumen of the blood capillaries. Then the last one, they have a thin membrane. Everywhere where we speak about thinness is our thin membrane, that is the epithelial membrane, is to reduce the diffusion distance. This one's about to reduce the diffusion distance, and for this one, there will be faster diffusion. This one you can get for around 10 marks or even to around 14 marks, because you can have 14 marks. That can qualify to be an essay question. But away from that, they can just break and ask you a very specific, let's say about the carbonic anhydrase and that one. So you can subscribe so that you can learn more from our clip. Thank you very much.